So last week I bought a new toilet and picked it up in store to avoid paying for shipping. On the outside, the packaging looked fine, so I brought it home, unboxed it, and that's when I noticed open bags, missing installation hardware, and chips underneath the bowl. It was also missing the wax seal, but here are the wax marks on the bottom of the toilet. If you are new to this and didn't know better, you might assume that they pre-installed it from the factory. If you try to install it as is, it's going to leak because a new wax ring is at least an inch thick. This toilet was previously installed and removed, which compresses the seal. You can't just remove it and repackage it without it falling apart. At first, I figured I would just run out and buy a new wax ring and continue on with the installation. But after some consideration, I decided to bring the entire toilet back and exchange it. And here is why you may want to do the same. When someone does something like this, you really don't know the true reason for why they returned it. The best case scenario is that they simply didn't like how the toilet looked or it was the wrong fit. More on this later. The worst case scenario is that the toilet was damaged or leaking due to a manufacturing defect. That being said, many people are careless during the installation and removal of toilets, which can also cause damage. As a homeowner, anything involving leaking water is bad news, and it is something you may not notice for years until your subfloor rots out. For me, the only benefit of this whole situation was that I was able to test fit the toilet in my bathroom prior to returning it. This toilet is a 10-inch rough-in version, which is more rare and expensive than the common 12-inch rough-in ones. The measurement is the distance between a finished wall and the center of the flange opening. It is not uncommon for the rough-in and bolts to be set slightly less than 12 inches for various reasons. Many times, if it's at least 11.5 to 11.75 inches away, you can use a 12-inch rough-in toilet because modern tanks are smaller and most installations leave a 0.5 to 1 inch gap between the tank and the wall to account for these scenarios. I am one of the unfortunate folks where the rough-in is closer to 11 inches even. The 12-inch version of the new toilet I wanted has a plus or minus 1/4 inch variance between the tank and wall due to the manufacturing tolerances. Unfortunately, not every toilet manufacturer provides this information, so you have to dig around. In my case, the 12-inch rough-in toilet will either have the tank 1/2 inch away from the wall, which is perfect, or butt right up against the wall, which is less than ideal. My old toilet was a 12-inch rough-in, and as you can see in the picture, the tank is right up against the wall to the point that the lid did not fit. If you are really unlucky, moisture and mold will grow on the wall right above that area. Before I continue, I just want to mention that they do make offset flanges that would move the toilet further out, but I did not want to deal with that hassle since my flange and extension are both primed and cemented to the drain pipe. For me, the gamble was just not worth it, so I went with the 10-inch rough-in toilet, which also has its own compromises. Because my flange center is more than 10 inches away, that extra inch of gap moves the tank further away from the wall, which bugs a lot of people since most people do not prefer a large gap behind the toilet. It is my own opinion that if someone was to return a toilet based on aesthetics alone, this large gap would be the reason. This happens a lot because people simply don't measure or plan ahead. When shopping for toilets, I suggest opening the box in store to make sure it really is unused, especially if it is a 10-inch rough-in, since there are less of those out there. Having to bring it back for a return sucks. Most two-piece toilets are not that heavy, but the way they package it makes it awkward to lift by yourself. Finally, here are some shots of what a brand new toilet should look like out of the package. There are straps securing the tank in place, and all the mounting hardware are sealed in bags. If you found something useful in this video today, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.